Hey students, welcome to week 2 of our summer session in REL 381, Religion and Moral Issues. I'm a little late getting this up. Blackboard, when they did the refresh, disappeared some of my content so from previous sections, and so I've been kind of working on that, getting the pieces back together to have them up for you. Week 1 looked great. The discussion board, I'm almost finished grading. If I haven't gotten to yours yet, please know that I will by the end of the day tomorrow, which is Monday. So you'll have that before you have to submit the next discussion board. As I said, those look great. I like that I see people integrating the source material, that you're citing it. You can use very simple parenthetical citation, which is just the author's last name, comma, and the page number. So that helps me out. If you're quoting from or referencing a video, then you can simply, use you can just abbreviate, use the first word of the video if you want, and the minute number if it's a quotation. Otherwise, you can just say you can introduce the source, and that would be fine, saying, well, as discussed in The Cross and the Burning Tree, something like that. So we're headed, or in week 2, so we're talking about religious approaches to the civil rights movement, and we're reading James Cone, Martin and Malcolm in America. And I hope that you've had time to look at the 2 PowerPoints. So I've got up Martin and Malcolm, an introduction, and there are lots of live links in there, so follow the links, explore the materials, and also ethics of nonviolence. So there's a second piece to that. You've got a discussion board prompt with a couple different choices. You have 2 videos. So there is a video, very important speech, Beyond Vietnam, A Time to Break Silence. That's kind of a critical point for Martin Luther King, or as James Cone, I think you will notice, often will write Martin King. And I would like you to think about why he does that. Why doesn't he say Martin Luther King? Why doesn't he write it that way? And what does he achieve, do you think, by doing that? And then the second video, The Cross and the Lynching Tree. If you have time to watch both, great. If not, then I would say, if you're going to write about the cross and the lynching tree for your video response, then definitely choose that one. If not, I think maybe it's a better option to go with, if you are not familiar with it, go with the Beyond Vietnam speech, because it pairs so well with our text. If you have time to listen to a podcast this week, I would like you to listen to the On Being, Getting Proximate to Pain podcast. I've also posted them on Malcolm X website. Lots of extra materials there. Yassine Bey, we may know as Mos Def. That's a nice piece. And then I've got 2 folders that I opened. One is for your video response. I'm going to leave that in the week 2 folder. Now, you might not be writing your video response until week 5, and that's fine. You can just go back to the week 2 folder, open it up. That link's going to be there. You won't be marked late. The due date is not until August 2nd, so that's at the end of week 5. But for some people were eager to get started. I think they want to get that piece done. So they're going to submit early, and that's fine too. I also had a question about the final paper or project. Yes, this week, the end of week 2, somewhere in your discussion board post, you can just put it at the beginning or at the end so I can find it. I just would like you to give me 1 sentence about what you're thinking about writing about or developing for your final project or paper. So it doesn't have to be, you know, beautifully stated at this point. It doesn't have to be fully developed. I'm just asking for you to give me a general idea. And if you have two ideas, that's fine. I think I might, you know, want to write about vegetarianism in, you know, this religious tradition, or I might want to write about, you know, religious responses to economic inequality. Great. You don't have to have something very specific yet. And keep working on that. So I've posted information about how these stages of developing your final project, some rough ideas for you just to get you thinking. So end of week 2, you're going to just submit a paper topic or final project topic. And then at the end of week 4, I think the syllabus says week 3, scratch it out, it should be week 4. At the end of week 4, you're going to submit a paper or project proposal. That is graded. And I've explained in the week 2 folder what that's going to be, but I can tell you here, it's just 1 to 2 pages. Again, it's a short, roughed out kind of sketch of what you are planning to do for your final paper or project. It should have a working title, it should have a couple paragraphs, at least 1 substantial paragraph, could be 2, outlining how you're going to go about it, what your working questions are, what you hope to find, what problems you're having maybe with finding adequate materials so I can help you out. At least 5 sources. You can use any citation style, use what you're most comfortable with. But I'm asking for an annotated bibliography, which means that you're going to sort of offer a justification of why that particular source is useful and why it's something that lends something to your project, you know, and argue why it's worthy, you know. So I've given you some sources that you can look at so that you can, you know, if you want to take a look at what an annotated bibliography looks like, you can do that. I'm not going to be really picky about it, but I want you to be thinking about the sources, you know, that they, you know, can pass muster and that they actually have something to say. And then, so that's the end of week 4. You're going to submit that. And at that time, if you want to set up a Skype or a phone chat, I've done that with students in the past. I think it is good to connect for 5 or 10 minutes and just, you know, we can talk through anything you're having issues with in terms of your project, questions you might have for me, and it helps me help you, which is, you know, my job. I want to be able to do that, to guide you as best I can, and to find out if you have any concerns about how to approach your topic. So let me know if that's something that's going to be useful to you. You can email me and we'll set up a time and go from there. And then your final paper or project. So in final form, it's going to be due at the end of the course. So it's going to be in lieu of a final exam. It's going to be 8 to 10 pages, double spaced. Use a standard 12-point font. If you're doing a paper, and your title page and bibliography are included in that page count. And then I want the equivalent if you choose to do a project, which means, you know, because you're doing a PowerPoint presentation or you're shooting a video or whatever interesting project you might come up with, that you understand that you should be putting the same amount of effort and intellectual commitment to that project. So it's not a less than, it's a different way of expressing a research project of some kind. So what else did I want to say about that? Often students who have done these kind of alternative projects usually give me a 1 to 2 page sort of explication of the project. So that's, you know, maybe the slides don't stand on their own. They need something more substantial to explain your process. So anyway, I'll talk about that on an individual basis with students who choose to go that route. And if you want to propose something, go for it. You know, just write me and say, I have this fantastic idea, or I have this idea that I'm not sure if it works, but I'd like to try it. Great. I'm very open to that. Just let me know. Your project has to be in conversation with religious and ethical concerns. I mean, that's, you know, some kind of moral issue, moral dilemma, and some kind of religious or spiritual intervention into that dilemma. That's kind of the crux of our course. But again, I'm open, you know, if you want to go check out what some faith-based or religious or spiritual community is doing to work on some kind of problem, and you want to go talk to them, find out more about how that works, how the project came about, I think that could be something very interesting for one of you to do. So I'm open to those kind of things. Okay, well, that is it for now, and please check out all the week 2 materials, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.